All dolled up. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
While Alma Mahler was a brilliant, beautiful musician, writer, and socialite, it is her love affairs with some of the most important artists of the 20th century that have kept her romantic, creative, and larger-than-life spirit alive. Oh, that and her sex doll. Yes. When you're just that charming and seductive to Europe's most talented and tormented artists, your reputation might inspire some bizarre measures. But that's all part of the mythology of Alma Mahler. Today on Ghost Town, the incredible life and times of Alma Mahler and her life-size sex doll. Alma Mahler was born Alma Maria Schindler in Vienna, 1879, the daughter of a celebrated painter and a society girl through and through. But she was also a talented composer and painter. And as a young woman, she was introduced to possibly the most influential Viennese painter, Gustav Klimt. You might know him from his iconic painting, The Kiss. Well, Klimt promptly fell in love with the 17-year-old Alma. I should also mention that she was known as, quote, the loveliest girl in Vienna. While it's fairly unknown what happened between the then 34-year-old painter and the teenager, according to my research, the two remained friends up until his death in 1917. Alma wrote of him, quote, Gustav Klimt entered my life as my first great love, but I was an innocent child, totally absorbed in my music and far removed from life in the real world. The more I suffered from this love, the more I sank into my own music, and so my unhappiness became a source of my greatest bliss. Again, spoken like a true artist. Klimt had his own thoughts on Alma Schindler, a kind of intuitive feeling for who she was, and, of course, who she would become. He said, quote, she has everything a discerning man could possibly ask for from a woman, in ample measure. I believe wherever she goes and casts an eye into the masculine world, she is the sovereign lady, the ruler. Alma's next love would come soon after, by way of her own music teacher, the composer Alexander Zemlinsky. But she was extremely talented, rich, and the most beautiful girl in Vienna, so she didn't stay with her music teacher long, opting to marry a way more famous Viennese romantic conductor and composer, Gustav Mahler, 20 years her senior. On a very random note, it's proven that Mahler is actually related to another musical icon from history and from now, Beyoncé. Beyoncé is Mahler's 8th cousin 4 times removed, but I digress. Fast forward a couple years and Alma wants to get back into composing, but Mahler isn't into it. In fact, he was never supportive of her in that way, writing to her, quote, the role of composer, the worker's role, falls to me. Yours is that of a loving companion and understanding partner. Great guy. So she gave up her dreams, and that was not lost on the young musician. She later wrote in her diary, quote, how hard it is to be so mercilessly deprived of things closest to one's heart. Heartbreakingly, 1907 was a rough year for Alma. Her 5-year-old daughter Maria died after a sudden illness, and Mahler himself was diagnosed with a serious heart condition. Deeply depressed, Alma went to a sanitarium to recover, where she began an affair with a young architect named Walter Gropius, not related to Beyoncé. While you might not know Gropius's name, you will know his legacy, Bauhaus, arguably the most important art school of the 20th century. When Gropius accidentally addressed a love letter to Alma's home address, Mahler found out about the affair and panicked, even consulting eminent psychotherapist Sigmund Freud on how to save his marriage. Turns out he had to listen to his wife and let her express herself, and after committing to supporting her music, she broke off her affair to Gropius. After that, things went pretty smoothly until Mahler's vulnerable heart condition got worse, and on May 18, 1911, the composer passed away. Now a widower, Alma began an affair with a younger man for once, the 26-year-old painter Oskar Kokoschka. The Viennese expressionist fell hard for Alma when they met at a party in 1912. He proposed marriage that very night, but of course she refused, until her emotions gave way. The relationship between them was passionate, jealous, obsessive, romantic, and volatile, with the intensely protective artist always fearing he'd lose Alma, even to the memory of her dead husband. Quote, "Because I am superstitious," he would admit in his autobiography, "I had always insisted that nothing of the dead Gustav Mahler, not even his bust of Rodin, should be brought into our house." That same year, Kokoschka would write to Alma, quote, "What you are, I am. If you turn from me, I am once again like no one and have no world. I live in you, and I only live truly and really for as long as you believe in me." The feelings were mostly mutual, if a little misdirected. Years later, Alma said of their time together, quote, "Never before had I savored such convulsion, such hell, such paradise. I experienced his rise. I took care of him as far as possible. He painted me, me, me." Their passionate relationship inspired Kokoschka's most famous painting, The Bride of the Wind. But not only used to express love, Kokoschka's art was also a place to explore his fears and his obsessiveness surrounding the relationship. He drew her having sex with other men. He drew her spinning yarn with his own intestines. Family and friends witnessed this relationship play out in real time, and frankly, they were scared. "If you see Oscar again, I'll shoot you," Oscar's mother, Romana, threatened to Alma. But Alma was no fool, and certainly no stranger to the tormented artistic genius around her. And at a certain point, the intensity got old for the composer, who told Oscar that he was just too much for her, and that the two should go their separate ways. Devastated by the breakup, Kokoschka volunteered to enlist in the Austrian army just to get away. After World War I broke out, he was severely injured and was sent home, hoping to gain a little sympathy and perhaps rekindle things with Alma. But upon arriving back in Vienna, Kokoschka was horrified to discover that while he was away, Alma had married her old ex, Bauhaus creator Walter Gropius. Kokoschka was heartbroken. The painter couldn't imagine living without the love of his life, and his intense desire for Alma Mahler, now Gropius, inspired him to conceive of a bizarre substitute, something that might quench the thirst of his obsession and infatuation. Quote, "I wanted to be done with the Alma Mahler business once and for all," he admitted, "and never again fall victim to Pandora's fatal box, which had already brought me so much suffering." So he had a plan, a fucking weird one, but a plan nonetheless. Kokoschka queried dollmaker Lottie Pritzl with a totally normal request, to make him a life-size doll of his ex-girlfriend. Pritzl immediately declined the disturbing project after seeing Oscar's sketches, but avant-garde dollmaker Hermine Moos did not seem fazed. Kokoschka gave Moos detailed instructions to try and make the doll look just like Alma, voluptuous, soft, and tactile. He sent a life-size drawing of Alma to Moos with his description, writing, quote, "I ask you to copy this most carefully and to transform it into reality. Pay special attention to the dimensions of the head and the neck, to the rib cage, the rump, and the limbs. Please permit my sense of touch to take pleasure in those places where layers of fat or muscle suddenly give way to a sinewy covering of skin. For the first layer inside, please use fine, curly horsehair. You must buy an old sofa or something similar. Have the horsehair disinfected. Then, over that, a layer of pouches stuffed with down or cotton wool for the seat and breasts. The point of all of this, for me, is an experience which I must be able to embrace! Exclamation point. Totally, totally normal. While Moos worked on Kokoschka's sex doll, Kokoschka didn't stop trying to win Alma back, but she was not having it. Thankfully, after 6 months, the doll arrived at Kokoschka's studio, and he tore open the box, eager to see what awaited him inside. He wrote, quote, "In a state of feverish anticipation like Orpheus calling Eurydice back from the underworld, I freed the effigy of Alma Mahler from its packing. As I lifted it into the light of day, the image of her I had preserved in my memory stirred into life." So what did it look like? Oh, we'll tell you after this break.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello, this is the check-in.
We're checking in. We're doing it week after week after month after year.
It's the only
Have you been
consistency in our lives and
Yeah.
yours.
Have you fully been checked in yet? Nope, not yet. Got to keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
We want to say hello to anyone who's listening, supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We got to say hello to our government, starting with the mayors.
The mayors are MVPs. Just kidding. You're all our MVPs. We need you all.
Yeah.
Equally. But also the mayors, especially.
There's no hierarchy, but there is.
A bit. You can cut that out or not.
You know, our mayors tried to pitch some dolls of their own.
Oh, boy. Oh,
Didn't
boy.
Go well. Yeah.
Oof. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I want to hear what their dolls are all about.
This first one, I thought it would have done well. Apparently, it didn't. It is a Costco doll. It is just a doll with a huge cart with a lot of toilet paper and bottled water just ready to stand in line.
Just like tubs of supplements. Just confused about where everything is. Trying to get back to their car.
I've never taken a vitamin before, but I know I need 1,000 of them.
I need a lifetime supply. It's important that I get them here at this Costco, a reputable supplement store.
Get them in bulk. Get them in Costco. That's our mayor, Chris Hernandez.
Hello.
This mayor pitched a doll. Not very fun. It is a LinkedIn doll. It's somebody in a blazer or business suit or some kind of casual business casual with a dead-eyed smile.
It's a polo shirt or a bad gray, like a slate blazer.
It's all slate. It's all slate. It's
smile.
all. Yeah, it was like, I have nothing to offer you except the ability to want to take your money because there are no jobs.
Third connection. Yay.
That would be our slate mayor, Kat Joselle.
Hello.
This mayor's doll did not do well either. This is the Google Glass doll. Remember Google Glass when they tried to make Google Glass? It was kind of cool, but it didn't work. I remember using it when I worked at YouTube, and I was like, this is cool, but for as cool as it is, I'm kind of done looking at it. So it's just another doll, probably more slate, but more kind of like on the move casual.
Like a tech vest? Are we talking tech vest?
Like a nice tech vest, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And looking like a cyborg. Also, the like hands are kind of moving in a way where it's like I can't both look at this Google Glass and walk at the same time. It's that vibe.
It's like disoriented, but it's a nice thing because they get to do something with those Google Glasses. You just sew them right under that doll's face. Entertainment, baby.
Oh, that would be Ashley Matson.
Hello.
Another doll, another failure. Unfortunately, didn't work.
Aren't you happy we did a doll episode?
This mayor pitched a doll, the Microsoft Teams doll. It's somebody who's dressed up on top and on the bottom is just wearing sweatpants, staring dead-eyed into a computer.
Ooh, and the computer, it's always got the little green dot in it.
Yeah.
So you're always on. That's a little inside Teams reference for those who appreciate.
I'm not employed in a way that I use Teams, so have fun with that one. That would be our mayor, Marissa Rothermel.
Hello.
Here's another doll. Thought it might do well. Did not do well at all. It's a Panda Express doll. Not an employee, but a customer. Again, business casual.
Sweats on the bottom.
Sweats on the bottom. Google Glass trying to keep that going. And they're just pointing. It's an accessory. They're just pointing to the orange chicken because let's not mess around.
What are we doing? You think you're getting shrimp? You think who's getting shrimp? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good with the vegetables.
Yeah,
just give me
the green
2 orange
beans,
chicken.
You fucking nerd.
Another orange chicken. This is me projecting. This would be our mayor, Kelly Meehan, and then our governor. And you know the doll. It's a very unrelatable doll. People are like, it's just iron-fisted executive in private jet.
Ooh, there's Swarovski crystals in there at some point because it's like, of course there is.
People are like, I cannot relate to this doll at all.
They're like, do they even sell this doll? The answer is no. It's custom made,
what they're doing, one of the accessories is
recording fucking now. So you can do it again and I'll be good.
Crushing a subordinate's head. Because
but it's like beautiful.
They got their
I'm Rebecca Lee.
And the subordinate is smiling because they're like, better this than...
They're like, I'll take this attention any day of the week, even though my life is over. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I'd rather be dead on a private jet than alive and not on one, I guess.
Absolutely. And any airline, all airlines. This is the check-in.
That would be our governor, Avian Noble.
Oh, no.
If you want no ads, no chit-chat, bonus episodes, Nothing one up good. Now, 7 days free, head on over to patreon.com/ghosttownpod. I wanted to say, I think I might be seeing one of our mayors, Kelly Meehan.
Hello?
Possibly. I don't want to say when I want to be. I will be on the East Coast, but I'll be performing in Philadelphia for a couple of dates. If you happen to be in that area and you want to come see me, you can go to my Instagram, which is Jason Horton, and the dates will be on there. So I'll have a celebrity run-in, and I will post photos.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could be there with you, and when I do, someday, I'm going to get a tattoo. I'm going to meet Kelly. I'm going to,
do Philly
our
things.
MVPs.
Yeah. Instead of just Philly homicide.
Just kidding.
Things.
You're all our MVPs.
Just Philly homicide
things aside from homicide.
But also
maybe, especially.
Well, speaking of not homicide, I guess you want to get back into the episode?
Yes, I would. When Oskar Kokoschka received his life-size Alma Mahler sex doll in February of 1919, he was not happy. And if you look at pictures of this doll, you would probably feel the same way. He wrote back to Muse saying, quote, I was honestly shocked by your doll, which although I was long prepared for a certain distance from reality, contradicts what I demanded of it and hoped of you in too many ways. Agreed. The doll was bizarre by any standard. It looked shaggy and soft like a crocheted pillow of a mermaid with genitals. Despite his specific directions, the dollmaker had taken many, many liberties, covering the Alma doll in feathers for skin. Kokoschka complained to Muse that he couldn't even dress her in clothing because of it, and that her skin had the tactile quality of a, quote, polar bear rug. And I don't disagree. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention this doll's face. Maybe the most terrifying part of the doll, if you can believe it. The doll has large, sloping eyebrows that make it look evil with a kind of John Waters meets Jim Henson studio aesthetic. Nevertheless, Kokoschka hired a maid named Hulda to wait on the doll and care for her, and Kokoschka made over 80 paintings, drawings, and photographs of the doll in various poses around his studio in the following few years. They are everywhere online if you would like to see, and I highly recommend that you take a look. Reportedly, Kokoschka rode in carriages with the Alma doll and even brought her as his guest to the opera. In the end, the doll's, quote, inescapable thingness only brought Kokoschka more frustration and reduced his popularity and social cachet in Viennese society by, a lot. The doll's end came as grotesquely as it arrived, when Kokoschka threw a champagne party with the chamber orchestra playing for the guests and the doll, dressed, of course, in fabulous clothing. At the end of the party, Kokoschka, who was blackout at this point, dragged the doll to his garden, cut the doll's head off, and broke a bottle of wine on the doll. Early the next morning, police woke Kokoschka up to investigate a report of a woman, quote, drenched in blood seen in his garden. Hungover, he wrapped a robe around himself, went downstairs, and showed the police a decapitated, feathery doll soaked in red wine. And yet, like many white men with unchecked mental illness, Kokoschka would go on to be successful, at least inasmuch as finding himself on Adolf Hitler's list of degenerate artists, which is pretty flattering unto itself. He married a woman 30 years younger than him who was also an attorney, and the two fled Vienna and ended up in Switzerland, where Kokoschka would die in 1980 at the ripe old age of 93. And Alma Mahler? Unsurprisingly, she would later divorce Walter Gropius and marry the Czech poet and writer Franz Werfel. Together, they would immigrate to the United States of America and settle in Hollywood, California, living at 6900 Los Tilos Road in the Hollywood Hills, right next to the Hollywood Bowl. Alma Mahler Gropius Werfel became a grand Hollywood hostess, entertaining many of the talented refugees who fled Europe during World War II. Of course, while married to Werfel, she continued having affairs, including one with a young priest. But after her third husband's death, Mahler moved to New York City, where, before her own death at age 85, she entertained a new generation of writers, artists, and composers like Leonard Bernstein. Oddly enough, a lover of Gustav Mahler's music and not related to Beyoncé. Many have theorized how Alma was so alluring, so seductive, so fascinating to all of these iconic European artists. Of course, she was beautiful, incredibly smart, but also people think that it was because of a well-hidden handicap. She was deaf in one ear, so she would lean in very closely to whoever she was talking to, creating this kind of jarring, immediate intimacy that didn't often happen with proper society ladies of the time. Again, just a theory, we'll never know for sure. But perhaps the saddest part about Alma Mahler's story is that only 14 of her musical works have survived. But of course, the fascinating femme fatale, as some have called her, inspired many poems, paintings, pieces of architecture, and of course, music. And lest we all forget, one strange, feather-covered sex doll.